So today I'm going to be showing you guys 5 tips on how to improve your customs from this to this. So yeah, without further ado, let's go on with the video. So for our first tip, it's going to be watering down your paint. So the paint that I use is Craftsmart. That's the brand I use just because I can get out of the store in my town. But yeah, the thing is to water down your paint and to do more coats and like prime your customs. So when it comes to painting, you don't want the paint to be super thick on a custom figure and like messy and stuff. Obviously you don't want that. So that's why I'd recommend watering it down a bunch, and just so that the paint becomes pretty thin or just thinner, and then you can just add more coats later on. It will take more time, but it will make the custom look 10 times better. Now that brings us on to the well, this is still in the same tip, but like that brings us on to another thing, which this is priming your figure with either black or white, depending on what colors you're going to use. So what I mean by that is, like, this figure I did prime. I primed him with black paint, but that's because I primed him with black paint because he has a bunch of darker colors on him, and there's a bunch of dry brushing and stuff, and I wanted him to look a bit dirtier and darker. But sometimes your paint might not stick as well or be of the best quality, and so if that's the case, do not prime your figures with black paint, and instead try priming them with white paint instead. So yeah, if you're looking to instead, like, if your figure is going to be bright and it's not going to be dirty and like or like withered or whatever like that, anything of like that, then, or it's going to be like more of like a shiny coat on it, then I would recommend just painting your figure in a white primer. You can do this with like spray paint, or you can do it with regular paint as well. So yeah, but spray paint is definitely a lot better for this. Personally, I like to prime my figures with gray paint instead of white or black paint, because it's just kind of like an in-between. But I also do that because I do FNAF customs, so you know, it'll get the endoskeleton parts and stuff like that. That is actually what I did with my Burn Trap custom right here. I primed him with gray spray paint first. I didn't do any white or black paint. Now for my next tip is to actually have an X-Acto knife or something like this, because this is very helpful for, especially if you're doing very hard like custom figures, to just cut off pieces of like the mold of the figure that you're using as the base, and just to like more stuff like that. And you can it's just super easy to cut off stuff, as it's a very sharp knife. That's the other thing, it's pretty sharp, so just be careful with it. But yeah, it definitely is like a huge help with making custom figures, especially if you're looking to add more like articulation to the figure and such. Then yeah, it's definitely a must-have. And you can also, if you're doing like Five Nights at Freddy's characters, like what I do a lot, or just something else that like needs like withering or something, or like damage in it, or like cuts and scars, it's also very useful for that, because with a Dremel you can cut these big holes and stuff, but you can't really make like cuts and all that. That's what I did with Eclipse's Sunrays right here. I used an X-Acto knife on them, and they're super easy, and I could get the details correct on them. So yeah, using an X-Acto knife is very helpful, especially if you're adding withering and such. Like, see all those scratches I made with an X-Acto knife. Now for my next tip is to have Posca markers. Now this may seem kind of weird to most of you, but having Posca markers is actually very helpful to me, especially if like for example, like the eyes, these just do the eyes really good. For example, on my Carney figure, I used Posca markers a lot on him. As you can see on like his cheeks, I had like highlights there, and his eyes came out amazing. These are like the best eyes I've ever made on him, and I used them using Posca markers. Now sometimes you know, Posca markers might be a bit too big. In that case, I'd recommend doing something else, which I'll show you later in this video. But Posca markers are better for even just small details too. Like for example, I made a bunch of my Chica bibs using Posca markers, and they've helped out a lot. And heck, even this whole Rockstar Chica foot, which is like orange and yellow, I did that actually using Posca markers, because my actual paint wouldn't stick on well. It would be like transparent. Like, see on the thigh right there, it's like not even completely yellow, it's like black, and then you can see like the coat of black. Yeah, so the Posca markers helped a lot on this figure. Now for my next tip is to actually have super glue. So these are the super glues I use. I'll just have them right here, I guess. But super glue helped me so much in making like super difficult customs, where I had to glue on like different parts or like spare parts and stuff that I had that like laying around or anything like that. Like if I had to glue on a top hat or something like that. These helped me out so much, and it's honestly way faster than just using a hot glue gun. Because with a hot glue gun, like in my experience, it's taken like pretty much almost like 7 minutes to heat up the gun and just get it like all situated and all that stuff. So using super glue is definitely an easier solution, especially if you don't want like a bunch of like little blobs on your fingers, because that's what hot glue will do. If you use hot glue, like there'll be like little blobs and stuff. That really messed up my mango figure, honestly, because there was just like kind of little blobs of stuff, even because it was just the hot glue. But if I would have used super glue, then that would not have happened. But yeah, super glue is definitely something that is good to use. Honestly, the best super glue that I've used is from the dollar store. These are just my new ones because I ran out of the ones that I got from the dollar store. But the best ones I've had so far were actually from the dollar store. You'll see them if you're just looking around. They're just like little tubes. They have like a red cap on them. But yeah, the dollar store ones are honestly the best ones I've used so far. These are also still good too. Now for my next tip, and my last one as well, is going to be having toothpicks. So yeah, like what I mentioned when I was doing the Posca markers and stuff, I said there's a better way to paint like more tiny details and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I use my toothpicks for. So I got these at the dollar store as well, because I don't know where else I'd get a container of toothpicks at. But these are very good for just painting on super small details that you can't with like your paintbrush or like a Posca marker. So these are very helpful for that sort of thing, and I've used these many times on eyes as well. Probably more than I have on with Posca markers, honestly, just so that then it's just a lot smaller and easier to use, honestly. Well, I wouldn't say it's easier, it's more precise. And also you can use toothpicks for like teeth and like wires and stuff like that, or just like a bunch of other things as well. Like for my Burn Trap figure, the way I held up his torso was by using like a some like piece of wood that it was like a piece of wood that I got at Michael's. I just cut it down as like a cylinder, and then I actually used some toothpicks and stuck them there, so you can see. And that's basically what's holding up his torso. So you can use toothpicks for a lot of things in custom figures, so they've been very helpful for me. So yeah, that's my last tip, I guess. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and please like and subscribe as it helps my channel out a lot. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.